So welcome back to DC Silver Age Storytime, and today's story comes from Detective Comics number 187 from September 1952, with story by Don Cameron and art by Dick Sprang. It's 2 o'clock, time for another double crime triumph for Two-Face as I wipe out both of you. A sinister two-headed coin spins, and once again Batman and Robin are face-to-face with Two-Face. Fantastic figure of twinned tragedy and terror. How will the dynamic duo deal with this double-action Jekyll Hyde of crime whose dual personality has a hideous side scarred and warped with evil? Read the amazing twofold answers in this exciting tale of the double crimes of Two-Face. So Batman is helping to put on an exhibition around crime. This should open the eyes of thousands of the need for supporting the law and its officers. Batman, thanks to you and Robin. So they have all these displays of the various criminals from their past, including the Penguin and the Joker, and of course, here's one who will appear, though, Two-Face, the weirdest and most dangerous of them all. Thank goodness he's on our side now, as solidly as before his tragedy when he was Harvey Dent fighting District Attorney. So Harvey Dent is actually going to appear as himself, as Two-Face, with makeup on. You got courage, Harvey, coming here to impersonate Two-Face, your old self, to help make this anti-crime exhibit interesting. I know you won't enjoy remembering. After what happened, I owe society any repayment I can make, and I can't help remembering anyway. It often comes back to me like a fog of horror in dreams. So we get a whole recap of his origin with the acid in the face, and then eventually he does get plastic surgery. And so this fellow named Blake comes up, and that's the very two-headed coin he used to choose between good and evil deeds. Let him use it today, Batman, for the sake of realism. And he asks Blake to go back to the dressing room and help out Harvey Dent get into his makeup. Not worried, are you, Dent? Not exactly, Blake. But when I look at myself in a few minutes and see my face horribly disfigured, it will remind me of the first terrible time it happened. I merely want to steel myself for the show. So he goes out dressed as Two-Face. There were two sides of me, good and evil, as in every man, but shocked and warped thinking had brought the evil side so close to the surface it would emerge at the bidding of a gambler's double-headed silver dollar, scarred on one side thus. But as he looks at the coin, he becomes entranced and I guess goes back into his old mode. Dent, what? Crime wins. Time for Two-Face to two-time the law again without the double threat of Batman and Robin to worry about. So he starts going berserk, hops on a motorcycle with a twin-cylinder motorcycle and a two-edged hatchet and just drives off. Careful, the fellow's a maniac. So he's back on the loose again. Fine, finish for our anti-crime show. I've got all available men on the job, but I'm counting mostly on you to prevent another flood of Two-Face crimes. So they're trying to figure out where he's going to strike, and it has to be something two related. We can't overlook any two combinations. No telling where he'll strike. But when he does, you can bet it will involve the figure two somehow. When and where will Two-Face strike? Early next morning in the garage headquarters of Gotham Sightseeing Tours. So he drops in with a two-pronged spear. It's Two-Face, and don't bother counting the money. I can count it myself later. So he makes a getaway double quick in a double-decker bus. Help! Robbery, fire! Ha! Theft and fire! A double crime and a two-story vehicle for my escape. Two-Face will be twice as fierce. He is really obsessed. So Batman and Robin are out, and they just spot this. Very obviously, it's Two-Face. There's a familiar-looking fellow with a two-wheeler cart, flipping a familiar-looking coin. Time for us to become Batman and Robin again. So the crooked side comes up, and good side down. We'll flip Two-Face the same way. So Two-Face is in a costume which very subtle. Those glasses will not reveal who he is. Hey, Batman and Robin, a sight for sore eyes. And speaking of sore eyes, here's something to make you see twice. So he has a gas gun and gives the two of them double vision. So they're having problems seeing him. That's right, run before my double-header bomb explodes. Which door is the real one? So apparently they can't see either. So long. Got to hurry away in a two-wheeled car. I guess that's why he wears the glasses. Not exactly a disguise. So, I love this art. He's heading downhill toward the river. Riding a bicycle double downhill will never catch him now that he's gone nautical. Bon voyage. So he heads off to this old-fashioned, what is it, what do you call those, steamer, and they're having a twins get-together. What's more, this extra rubber face will turn me into as neat a pair of twins as any. So everyone on board is a twin, except him and Batman and Robin. And Batman and Robin arrive, and they see him, and did I see Two-Face? There are two of all faces aboard, except yours. But if you mean the criminal we read about in the papers, neither my brother nor I have seen him, thank goodness. And so the Dark Knight detective is not clever enough to notice that the one head is a balloon. Two-Face might be hiding in the engine room, as if we weren't going to search there and everywhere else. By the way, the fellow seems to have got separated from his twin, and they finally figure out, yeah, he's been made to look quite foolish. And it uses spirit gum, which is what actors use in their makeup. Which reminds me, Two-Face must have to retouch that painted scar pretty frequently, since it's not real anymore. It does look as if Two-Face or somebody has used these grease paints since we saw it last. But what's the idea of doctoring them with chemical powder? Just an idea. We'll come back here tonight, and I'll explain then if it works the way I hope. So they return to see if they can find Two-Face. And there he is. And has a trap ready for him. Caught you knee-deep in sponge rubber between the two statues. Neat, eh? I knew you'd show up sooner or later, so my two-headed lucky coin could decide whether you live or die. So he flips the coin, but it comes up the good side. The good side wins, I'm sorry to say. This two-edged prop sword isn't sharp, but you can pry yourselves loose in 10 minutes or so, which will give me a head start. So he heads out of there. You may have caught Two-Face before, but never again. So long. Oops! So you hear bump, thump, crash, help, ah! So they go down there and find Two-Face out cold. He's unconscious but alive. And he's Harvey Dent, all right. Call an ambulance, Robin, and the police. So they show up. But despite all of the evidence, Batman still does not think it's Harvey Dent. For one thing, these Two-Face crimes aren't in character with the old ones. The original Two-Face trusted completely in his lucky coin, but the man we're up against uses two phony ones. Are you sure? Dent had only this one coin, the genuine one. The phony ones were magnetized on one side and clung to metal when they fell. They were of two metals, steel and brass. One landed bad side up for crimes and the other good side up. So Robin and I could win and find Dent lying here unconscious. It would have fooled even me. The original Two-Face stole but wasn't wantonly destructive. I'm not sure about that. He wouldn't have burned or bombed. Yeah, that doesn't sound true. And there's a better reason, which I'll tell you later. For Dent's sake, I hope you're right, but I'll hang on to him anyway till we're sure. So later, he goes back to the theater, or I guess minutes later. Lights inside, but no answer to my knock, so I'll knock harder. And he finds, there he goes. But if he keeps running that way, he'll be cornered in a hurry. So he finds who he's looking for, which is another Two-Face. All right, Batman, time for one. Well, they end up at a Two-Face clock. All right, Batman, time for one of us to die. Come out here and fight if you're not afraid. I'm afraid you're going to make it tough for me to take you in alive, but you don't leave me much choice. So they get into a fight, and this Two-Face falls off. Seems your murderous little trick works two ways. Try to grab the hands of the clock to save yourself. Uh-oh, it almost shook me loose again when it moved ahead a minute. Are you okay, Two-Face? I'm still here, but there's nothing okay about being stranded here with no chance of getting up or down. I've got a rope. If you'll agree to a truce, I'll toss one end over and we can climb up together, one of us counterbalancing the other. A rope, I agree. I'll climb fast and double-cross him by cutting the rope. Now's the time. Here goes. Stand on the shaft and be ready to grab with both hands so you won't miss. I'm all set. Hurry before I lose my balance. Look sharp. I'm throwing the whole coil so you can't miss. Got it. Oops, I'm falling. You tricked me. You knew the clock hand would move just at that second. Only to keep you from tricking me, Two-Face. I knew the coils of the rope would fall over you and make it impossible for you to miss, and couldn't resist outsmarting Two-Face on a two-faced clock at 2 a.m. So, George Blake, the theater manager, slugged Dent in the dressing room and held him prisoner while he played a phony Two-Face role. Right, Blake had made a deal with the owners of the sightseeing and optical firms, both of which were losing money. They were to split the loot and insurance while Dent took the blame. But when he'd finished and we had Dent, why didn't Blake get rid of the painted scar when he could have denied everything? I imagine he tried, but I doctored the paint he used, made them indelible, so that they couldn't be washed off. He'll still look like Two-Face when he faces the jury, except for one thing. The scars on the right cheek, which is the wrong cheek, because he followed the newspaper picture made from a reverse negative. That's one mistake Dent couldn't have made. Great Scott, I never noticed, but you're right. The left side of Two-Face was originally bad one. The bad one originally. Oh, jeez. The left side of Two-Face was the bad one originally. No wonder you were sure Dent was innocent. Blake was going to help me make up as Two-Face, and that's all I remember. What happened anyway? Just a little double dealing. That netted a couple of new coins for our trophy collection. Soon as you've rested up, we'll tell you the whole story. And we have one more Two-Face story left to go.